Hey there. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland. Don't believe a word I say. This is just for entertainment. Nothing is real. What is true?
Invoked the last time he was in office, but he was surrounded by people who are not, and they were like, "We're not deploying," because the Insurrection Act will let you deploy the U.S. military in our states against our own people, right? It's martial law. It's what it is. And they said, "We're not doing that." He tried to do it over George Floyd protests, and he was basically blocked by his generals, right? Thank God he blocked him. But now he's got all the sycophants around him, and nobody's going to tell him no. Nobody. All right, ready? Let's go into the evidence. In this deeply alarming opinion piece in the San Francisco Chronicle, Brett Wagner, who served as a professor of national security decision-making for the U.S. Naval War College, raises the specter of Trump invoking the Insurrection Act and martial law. So there's a San Francisco Chronicle article, and the title is Trump preparing to invoke the Insurrection Act? Signs are pointing that way. A joint Department of Defense and Homeland Security report will soon recommend whether or not to invoke the Insurrection Act over illegal migration. So this guy wrote an article on this topic. Ready? In his day one fusillade of executive orders, Donald Trump signed declaring a national emergency at the southern border of the United States. This includes the following clause dictating designated supplicants Kristi Noem at DHS and abusive crusader Pete Hegseth submit a report with recommendations about whether to invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807. So a day one executive order he signed said the following. You ready? In 90 days, the date of this proclamation, the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Homeland Security shall submit a joint report to the President about the conditions at the southern border of the United States and any recommendations regarding additional actions that may be necessary to obtain complete operational control of the southern border, including whether to invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807. So he signed an executive order on day one saying, within 90 days, I want this report, and you guys are going to recommend do the Insurrection Act or don't do the Insurrection Act. Now remember, Kristi Noem and Pete Hegseth are some of the biggest psychos in the administration and some of the biggest sycophants in the administration. And likely what they're doing with this report is, what do we think Trump wants to hear? What do we think he wants us to say? And that's what they're going to put in the report. On Wednesday, and I can't believe I'm saying this with a straight face, Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard made a big show of landing at the border of Mexico, which is a pretty remarkable thing all by itself. Why would people in charge of our national defense be meeting there? The plan, as I've reported now for months, is to create a North American empire from Greenland to Colombia. Trump's tariffs and horrific abuse of America's neighbors, the belittling of Trudeau, the saber-rattling of Mexico, Greenland, and Panama, are all pretext. And so he's talked about this before in detail. There was this ideology called technocracy, which basically started, I believe, in the 1930s. And the idea was politics is too messy, democracy is too messy, politicians are too messy. What we basically need is to be led by technicians and engineers and like scientists, and they make all the decisions. And they came up with this idea called the technate of, and the technate of America. Ready for this? This is the scary part. The technate of America stretches from Greenland, Canada, down through the U.S., and it goes all the way to, I believe, Colombia. Almost all of those places, Trump has been warmongering with. Panama, Greenland, Canada. So it looks like he actually is laying the groundwork to try to create the technate of America. Now, to make it even scarier, you have the grandfather of Elon Musk was a Nazi. He was interested in and believed in the technate of America, right? And it looks like it may have been the case. Elon was named after some character in some Nazi sci-fi book named Elon, right? And it looks like he may have learned either from his dad or his grandfather about this idea, which that guy deeply believed in, creating the technate of America. And now, of course, he's the shadow president and the co-president. And it looks like they're laying the groundwork to try to create the technate of America. Jesus Christ. All right, we're not done. Ready? Trump has effectively decapitated the military leadership, including replacing the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, a 4-star general who is black, with a 3-star MAGA TV personality with the nickname Raisin Cane. Trump fired all the JAGs, the people responsible for ensuring that the military stayed within the law, and has Hegseth running around doing things like canceling the plane that dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima because it's called the Enola Gay. As Mike Flynn pointed out on December 17, 2020, martial law is a tactic well within their consideration. The Insurrection Act was repeatedly invoked in the lead up to January 6th as a potential way to prevent the peaceful transfer of power. Trump's lawyers got in the way last time because they feared the incoming administration. This time, we'll have no reason to fear at all. To get a sense of how far afield we are, Here is federal judge Beryl Howell explaining the very basics of the Constitution, as if to a recalcitrant second grader to Donald Trump after he illegally fired the head of the National Labor Relations Board. And then it goes on to give that quote. I note that 3 months after January 20th, 2025, when the executive order to determine whether to invoke the Insurrection Act was signed, is 4/20/25, so April 20th, 2025. 4/20 is, as noted in an SEC filing, a part of marijuana culture and a favorite meme of Elon Musk. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of examples of this. However, 4/20 is also Hitler's birthday, and National Socialist symbolism, as I've extensively reported, is very increasingly ineffectiveness. On the other hand, here's the chief proponent of American the Dark Enlightenment, Curtis Yarvin, yesterday, practically begging for new and unprecedented abuses of the Richter scale, or the Trump regime will start to wither and eventually dissipate. And there you have his quote. If anyone thinks this regime would not consider invoking martial law on Hitler's birthday, you really got to reframe your thinking. The Nazis snuck in the back door and took over. We either squeezed them out or die regretting we didn't. Musk's Tesla stock is tanking. His rockets are exploding on a regular basis. He's deeply unpopular, but this will only make him more desperate. Head on a swivel, friends. In the meantime, enjoy the fireworks. And then he just shows Elon's rocket blowing up. So let's review. What are we talking about here? We are talking about Trump signing an executive order on day one, which says, hey, within 90 days, give me a report on whether or not to invoke the Insurrection Act at the southern border. Right? So it would be deploying the military in the United States over the southern border. Right? Kristi Noem and Pete Hegseth are doing the reports. They are total sycophants. They will put in that report whatever they think Donald Trump wants to hear, or Trump might even just outright tell them, put in the report to invoke the Insurrection Act. Good luck. Then you also have this article in the San Francisco Chronicle, another person saying, yeah, I think it's very likely he's going to invoke the Insurrection Act. 90 days from when he signed that executive order is 4/20, which also has the added symbolism of the things we just discussed. Right? So, I don't know, man. I'm hoping it's not true, right? I'm hoping it's not true. But, Crystal made this point to me. Have you ever known Donald Trump? Let's say they release the report and they say, yeah, we think you should invoke the Insurrection Act over the border, right? Have you ever known Donald Trump to be like, I know you want to give me extra power, but I'm going to go ahead and pass on that right now, dog. All he cares about is money, power, and control. All he cares about. And so it might happen. And then, of course, what will end up happening if he invokes martial law on April 20th is that will be expanded out. So the Insurrection Act will be expanded out. It'll be nominally over the border, right? But then as time goes by, let's say you have huge protests in the streets fighting back against Trump. He'll just declare those protests illegal. He'll say, I already invoked the Insurrection Act. You guys know that we're at war at the border. You go out and protest. That's illegal activity. We're arresting you for protesting. I don't know if it's going to happen. I want to be clear. I don't know if it's going to happen. But there's enough evidence here to have the conversation. Do you think he's going to do it or not? I'll tell you this much. I'm worried about it. All right, guys. That's the show, y'all. Love y'all very much. Sorry to end on such a dour note, but everybody do me a big favor. Please subscribe to the channel. That helps out big time. Click that like button as well. That means a lot. 2, you support this show on Patreon. Literally could not do it without you. And remember, tune in to Crystal Kyle and Friends this week. We have Zoran's coming on. Everybody's favorite New York City mayoral candidate. All right. I love you guys. I'll see you there. Peace. Hey, y'all. Do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
I was today years old when I realized I play really good golf without using one of these. They're kind of pricey, and the batteries don't last that long. Instead, you can download Swing. It's complete free. It gives you accurate yardages to your hole. It also allows you to track your handicap and your scores. That way you can play better G. And if you're really feeling froggy, you can upgrade Swing U Pro, which gives you access to strokes gained. It gives you green reading maps. Not to mention, it's so easy to use. I'm telling you guys right now, if you want to play better G this year, check out Swing U.
Don't waste your time trying to analyze market trends. That's what VectorVest is for. Market timing indicators let you know when to buy and sell so you can ride the rallies and avoid downturns. VectorVest's powerful tools give you the foresight you need to buy low, sell high, While everyone else is looking at the hot stock of the day, VectorVest digs deep to find the real moneymakers, the ones you can win big with, all right at your fingertips. And VectorVest's simple metrics let you know at a glance if it's a good value, safe investment, and market conditions are right to buy. Plus, VectorVest's proprietary screeners put all of the best stock picks right at the top, so you can keep building your portfolio with ease. Timing is everything, so make the smart investing choice today and download the VectorVest app for a free trial.
I'm back. I guess it was a short one.
Look, there's a lot said about Donald Trump's diminishing cognitive ability. Some of it, I think, for clickbait. Some of it to gin up attention for views. Some of it, though, I think is legitimate. And yesterday was a moment that I think is a glimpse into what we have to look forward to in the future relative to Donald Trump's incompetence.
2 weeks ago.
And I want to tread lightly because memory loss in old age is something that impacts millions of Americans and their families. And it's not something to mock. I have a problem with that particular aspect of it a little bit because I don't really care about mocking Donald Trump for any malady or problem he has because he attempted to end democracy in America. He is of a unique, evil sort of character in our history, and I don't owe him deference or respect at all. Having said that, I by extension don't want to mock him and then have someone else feel like they're being mocked. But it's a real serious problem in the democracy where we already have a cult-like atmosphere surrounding this guy where no one's going to say, oh, shit, we got a problem here. He's starting to fall off the edge. And listen, if Joe Biden had rambled like Donald Trump rambled in the Oval Office yesterday, talking about astronauts and their hair and being in a relationship in space, I mean, just the media wouldn't have let it go for a month. Jake Tapper would have been on CNN. Oh, harumph, this is very serious. Oh, we've got a real problem here. But because it's Donald Trump, it's just crickets from the peanut gallery of corporate media. That's just Trump. It's just a big joke, hilarious, when it's Donald Trump. First, I want to point to this article from NBC News. I'm just going to read the headline here. Astronauts versus Musk. Public spat ensues over claims that politics delayed a flight to Earth. Elon Musk has made unfounded claims that 2 NASA astronauts were left on the space station for political reasons after their Boeing spacecraft ran into problems. So this was a question asked in the Oval Office by a journalist. I think it was Peter Ducey who asked the question. The guy who wouldn't have a job at a fucking Jiffy Lube if not for the fact that his dad's last name is Ducey and his first name is Steve, and he's the rising star at Fox News who hosts Fox and Friends. That's why the goober Peter Ducey has a job. No other reason. So this whole thing about the astronauts, I wanted to give you a context that, one, they're not stuck there. It wasn't a political thing. Biden didn't decide not to go get what are they talking about? All of this is just lies and conspiracy. And even the astronauts have said that. Elon Musk is trying to mix it up with them the way he mixed it up with the Thai Navy SEALs who rescued those kids in that watery cave that time, however many years ago. So this is not a political thing at all. Elon Musk isn't our savior. He's not going to save the day. And they asked Donald Trump a serious question, and he just rambles like a madman. He rambles like he is in either the early stages or in the throes of a cognitive episode. Women, man, microwave camera, whatever the nonsense was. This is what we have to look forward to, because this is only going to progress. It's only going to get worse. Watch this.
Yeah, Peter, did you have one more?
I did, yeah. They got these two Starliner astronauts stuck in space for 8 months.
Biden left him up there. I know everything about it. He said, we have two astronauts that are stuck in space. I have asked Elon, I said, do me a favor. Can you get him out? He said, yes, he is preparing to go up, I think, in 2 weeks.
Don't know about how this went down. He's saying that the Biden White House was offered some kind of SpaceX rocket to go get these guys, and they said no.
That's what I heard. I can't tell you that, but that's what I heard. But Biden was embarrassed by what happened. And he said, leave him up there. I would have said, if you're embarrassed, you got to get him out. Elon is right now preparing a ship to go up and get him.
I'm sure that they will see this in space. What is your message to
We love you, and we're coming up to get you, and you shouldn't have been up there so long. The most incompetent president in our history has allowed that to happen to you. But this president won't let it happen. We're going to get them out. We're coming up to get you. I've authorized Elon. I said, can you get them out? Because, they've been left up there. I hope they like each other. But maybe they'll love each other. I don't know. But they've been left up there. Think of it. And I see the woman with the wild hair, good solid head of hair she's got. There's no kidding. There's no games with her hair. But, and there's a danger up there too. They could have some failures up there that would be very bad. You got to get them out. So I've authorized Elon a week ago. I said, we have two people up there that Biden and Kamala left up there, and he knows it very well.
Anyway, here it is. What time is it? 11:16. I'm gonna go run around and do some things, and I'll be back. 2ish maybe. Oh, Jamie. Yeah, Bob. Looking good. Looking well. Remember, April 20th, Adolf Hitler's birthday. I bet you it's the day Elon Musk and Carrot Head, it's really Neon Tusk and Carrot Head will declare martial law. And pretty much everything will cease to exist, as you know. And it'll be a new world order. You heard the guy discussing the technocracy, everything from Greenland to the canal. So anyway, it's going to be interesting. Right? So get ready. I'll just keep watching the grass grow. I'm sad that my bunnies aren't around. All the animals, the birds are still there, but all the animals that used to run around, used to have a black panther that's not around. Bears used to be around, bunnies and a bunch of foxes, and wolves, and none of them are around. Their basic home has been disrupted by corporate development. So, hope you're well. Remember, leave messages at the due to wait 42 at Gmail on my email. If you want to talk, leave the phone number. If you're in America, I can call you. Any comments, put in the comment section. I'm going to be back this afternoon around 2ish, maybe sooner, maybe later. Who knows? Okay, talk to you later.